Theon point of view. Jungkook, what are you doing? You are getting late from your office. Theon, I said, looking at him who was roaming in the room. Jungkook, really? You think I go to office after what happened? Theon, he said, and again start roaming, thinking something. I smiled and went close to him. Holding his fist, I stopped him and he turned to see me. Theon, I I don't want to go. I sat and lowered my eyes, which filled up with tears. Holding my hands, he pulled me in his arm and we hugged each other, while I let my tears to come out. Hid in his arms. I don't want to go, Jungkook, I said, and while holding him tightly. Hey, shh, pull back. He wiped my tears and I looked at him. Everything will be okay. Don't cry, he said and kissed my forehead. Pulled me again in his arm. He kept carrying my hair with his hand, and I just kept listening his heartbeat. Miss Jungkook, are not you going to office today? Then I heard Auntie voice near our door, and we both separate from each other. Damn it! I heard Jungkook, and he took his file and laptop. He was took a step ahead. He stopped and turned to see me. Come to me. He cupped my face and kissed my forehead. Mr. Jungkook, Seongkyo, we heard Auntie again and he groaned in frustration. Pulled back, he ran out the door. As he opened it, we found Auntie standing. Ready, Mom? I said and stepped out of the room, but he didn't forget to turn and look at me. I smiled but stepped out of the room. I saw him walking slow and I kept him. He was waiting for me and reached him. Jungkook, why are you walking so slow? Aunt said and I smiled, which encouraged my pace toward him. He didn't answer but turned to see me. He stopped when he saw me coming to him. As I went close to him, he started walking with me. I looked at Aunt John, who was glaring at me, which made me start for a second. Dad, I'll be back soon. Thankful. Jungkook said to his father and he nodded. He went out while me and Aunt John followed him. We both looking at him who put his thing in the car and before getting in he turned. Our eyes met and I smiled his lips. I waved bye to him and so he did. Not glaring but a dead glass she was passing to me. Forming her eyes toward me, she walked back in the house, and I just shuddered, her looking away from me, and walked behind her in living room, which everyone was greeted. As I entered, Minnie saw me and ran toward me. My son, saying I picked him up in my arms and sat on the sofa. Yunam was making the list of shopping as the engagement of Yunam. They all decided to shop. Theon, you come with us, right? Theon, Jinhaya asked and then shook my head. Theon, I don't feel like to. Actually, I have a headache, so I can't come. Jimin, headaches or jungle cage? Theon smiled. Time passed. They all left and followed them to living room. They also excited as they stepped out. I closed the main door of the hall and went to the kitchen. Take the pan out. I start making as I got ready. Theon, hello. Jungkook, hello dear wife. His voice appeared from other side and I smiled. What are you doing? Theon, he asked and I switched off the TV and leaned back on the sofa. Theon, talking to you. Jungkook, where is everyone? Going on shopping. So you didn't go with them? He asked and I shook my head as he was watching me. Stop shaking your head. I am coming, he said and I started for a second and then smiled, looking at the receiver. The call was end and I knew he must be coming. I walked to my room and fresh up and then I heard the car horn telling me that he was home. I looked at clock and sighed. It was just 20 minutes he arrived. I walked down to open the door as I did. My eyes met mine. I looked at his hand stop in the air. Maybe he was going to ring the bell. But I opened the door before he could bell. I greeted him and moved aside to give him the way enter. He replied. He held my hand and started walking. Tyong. We were walking slow, matching the steps of other. None of us are talk. I looked down at our hand which were together and it was feeling really good. Finally we are alone. He said and throwing his file on and laptop on the bed. Jungkook, I just cleaned the room. Here we go. I heard him as I did. He threw his shirt on my head and ran to washroom. I smiled and childish act. He jumped on the bed and I saw him closing his eyes. I made my way off the room to the kitchen. As I stepped in room, I saw him laying there with arm was in his eyes to cover them. I moved forward and sat on the bed next to him. Jungkook, I called him and he removed his arm immediately and looked at me. What you bought for me? I passed the ball of to him. Taekook, thank you, he said and kissed my hand. You're welcome, I said and tried to get up, but he pulled me toward him, which made me lay on him and he moved back to the bed. Jungkook, what are you doing? I have to wash this. I was sad and looked at him. He encircled his arm around my waist and to pull me completely on him. Jungkook, I said and rested on his chest. I have to wash this wall, I said, and he shook his head. You can do this later. Let me see you. Why didn't you go on shopping? I shopped only with my husband. Jungkook, I I have to go. I said, but he leaned more close to me, and I felt my breath stop. You're stuck now, he whispered and kept leaning on me, making me nervous. I started biting my lips again, but I realized what I did. I looked up in his face. I told you not to bite your lips. But, ah, or you'll be punished, he said and leaned more close. How was the shopping? Opa, it was so fun. We shopped a lot. Jin, where is Tiang? He's in home. Minnie, there. We all turned on Minnie voice. He was coming and with a beautiful smile on his lip. He slowly walked to Jim and Haya and sat in front of me. We both looked at each other and smiled. How was the shopping, Jim? It was good. Tiang, pack your luggage. We'll be departing early morning on our flight is about to 9 of the morning, Mom said, and my eyes faded. I forgot that he was going tomorrow. I looked at his eyes, who was smiled weakly, and then looked down, tried to hide his red eyes. But I catch him. Tiang, stop me, please. I don't want to go, he said while holding my hand. I felt him crying, and my own eyes start getting wet. I didn't know that I feel all this one day, how I feel when you love one go far from you. And I never know that I love him this much that it's getting difficult for me to stay far from him. Jungkook, Tiang, I called him and moved back to see. Miss Sean, she stepped out of the room and started walking toward the room of Jungkook. She stopped outside the room listening the conversation. Theon and Jungkook were laughing and talking happily, which burned Mrs. Dawn. Theon, laugh your last laugh, because I will snap your smile and happiness from your face and life. I will not let my son live with you whole life. Now this is the end of your relationship, but before I have to show you your place. Hello, listen, I have